One of the biggest mistakes I see consultants make is letting the scope get out of control. Ultimately, when we start any engagement with a customer, their expectations on both them and on us. Right? They have to do things like provide us the business support, provide us the tools and resources and access to get our jobs done. And we ultimately have to deliver a scope that we agreed upon doing. Maybe it's helping them change business processes, put in a software, a strategy or entering a new market, whatever the project may be and whatever is in scope. We have to be aware of both expectations on us and expectations on them. And then, as you think about the scope, you want to continually make sure the tasks you're doing align with that to ultimately bring project success. A project is only successful if it benefits both our customer and our firm. If we do a ton of extra work and do a ton of great work for the customer and they're extremely happy, but we end up not making any money for the firm, well, that's not successful in my book. And I think your project manager and your manager would agree. So the things you can do when the project starts, make sure you understand the statement of work, check the project charter, there's a scope document, there'll be some kind of document that the project manager should be jointly creating with the customer that details that specifically what we're going to deliver, why we're delivering it, what's the benefit around it, and you should be aligned and understand that. There'll be deliverables and milestones laid out throughout a project, and if it's not crystal clear on what that needs to look like or when that's going to be delivered, that's a warning flag right off the bat to make sure we do get aligned with the customer. And as you go throughout the project, as you're doing your work, continually refer back to this document and make sure that you're aligned. If a customer starts asking for a ton of extra stuff, that's a warning flag because you should not just say yes. All of a sudden, it could balloon the scope out of control. Sure, if it's a 5-minute task and it adds some value, okay, do it. I'm not saying don't do a 5-minute task, but very quickly you'll underestimate how much something will take, and you need to pause, take a step back, recognize, hey, this is not something we agreed to doing, and you might even come up with things yourself that are value adds as you discover more requirements with the customer. But the key is to stop and take a step back and recognize this is not part of our scope, and you need to have a conversation about it. And a lot of times, requirements will change. It's natural that as you go through a project with a customer, they're going to learn things, and therefore things might change. Well, stop right there, talk to your project manager, and the project manager and the senior leader on the project are the ones that are going to have to find a way to say no in a positive way. Or maybe do a change order or something else. Ultimately, if we take on more scope, but we don't change the time and the resources, quality is going to suffer. Because you're only one person, you're only a certain amount of people on the team, and you can only deliver so much. And if you keep taking more and more on, something has to go off the plate or ultimately not get done. So the key for you is to make sure you're recognizing to not say yes to everything the customer asks, to align with the scope early and often throughout the project, and to make sure you're communicating internally and being part of that team collaborating on figuring out what the right recommendation is forward when requirements do change. Make your next project even more successful by managing scope and not letting it get out of control. Thanks.